everybody? Welcome back to Versus Live. My name is Corey Ballmeister.
I'm Ross Mary.
All right, and we got Rob in the booth. Say what's up, Rob.
What's up, Rob?
All right, Rob will be taking all your questions, comments, concerns, and burns. Make sure to tag at Star City Games, and he will get his favorites and send them over to us. We'll do our best to answer them. So we are continuing our Lurrus versus Yorion battle here that we are running through Modern and Pioneer. Round one went to me with a nice little Doom Foretold action. That was pretty sweet. I like that deck a lot.
Cool deck, and we got another nice one. This is from Canister.
Yep, Canister, who is like my deck building superhero. I have copied so many of his decks because they've just been so thought out and just really built perfectly. He's just broken so many formats too. I'm a huge Canister fan, if anyone could not tell. But yeah, Piotr Glukowski's basically a Azorius control deck that splashes green for Growth Spiral and Uro. Just recognizing the power of those where blue-white control doesn't really have that extra angle of attack, right? It is just doing its one thing, and that usually makes it pretty easy to exploit. And with the creature plans, you are pivoting a little bit and making it so all these anti-combo cards or anti-control cards are not 100% good against your entire deck. Like now you have to beat Uro as well, and that makes sideboarding a little tough. Something I was really talking and we were harping about in Modern. You know, a good Modern deck kind of attacks from two angles. And
yeah, you have that one little proactive angle. So if your opponent is trying to measure their threats so they don't play too far into Supreme Verdict or don't get blown up into Azorius Charm or Settle the Wreckage, then and trying to make your counterspells awkward, eventually doing that is going to give you enough time to set up this Uro. And now Uro is gaining you 6 life, drawing you a couple cards, they forcing a reaction from your opponent, or maybe just trumping them on the battlefield. It really is a nice angle, and it's still perfectly fine to just cast early, buy you some time, make your land drops, all good things. So it doesn't
All-Star gets burn and stuff, and
does not interfere with your game plan really at all. So a very easy splash to make, especially in a Yorion deck when you're playing. Your land count's already very high. Pretty easy to play 3 colors here. Love to see Uro. Love to see the Shark Typhoons, which is a card that's making its way into Pioneer.
And it should. It is just such a powerful card. People just always kind of slow down on like good new standard decks and bringing them into older formats. They're like, that's a standard card. It's not going to do as well against X, Y, and Z. But usually it does. You just got to try it and put it with these cards. Admittedly, not the best Yorion deck. I don't use a lot of that. You can blink some Omen of the Seas, maybe blink Teferi Time Reveler. That's probably the best thing you can do. But outside of that, we are a control deck here, so not as much Yorion shenanigans here.
And I'm going to be playing Lurrus Jund. We've seen some Golgari, and it started out as Golgari, really, but it's moved to Jund since then. Pretty popular deck these days. Traditional Jund mid-range deck. Unbridled Growth is the really key card because it lets you turn Lurrus into a card advantage engine the way they do with Mishra's Bauble in Modern. So that's really important here. But outside of that, it's good disruption, good removal, good threats. I've got Croxa, Scavenging Ooze, very good in the Lurrus metagame. Cheville, a new card, works really well with all your removal.
Great against aggro.
This is not going to be the match.
Probably a side out here,
But the other threats will be great. Croxa will be good. Got a couple Soul Guide Lanterns in the main, which also draws cards with Lurrus, but helps disrupt the graveyard. I think that's going to be pretty important with the Uro plan that you have. So to let me just measure my threats, play the anti-control plan, control the Uro with the Soul Guide Lantern, and do the things that I want to do. So
a battle as old as time. Jund against a classic control deck here. So let's get into it. You're going to be on the play.
Hopefully I can play Thoughtseize into Tarmogoyf, right?
Yeah, that's usually the dream. Oof. Our hand has a glaring problem, but it's not enough to mulligan, in my opinion. But this is always quite awkward, but it's going to happen in this mana base a decent amount.
My hand is not very good, but I'm hoping that these find me something and set up my hand.
Okay, so we're keeping it.
Lead on a stomping ground. Yeah, I'm not happy about it.
I'm not happy about mine either, but all right, pass to you. Ooh, actually, I should play this one. Sorry.
Satyr Wayfinder.
Okay.
I will take a Blood Crypt.
Okay.
Pass the turn. We got a Cheville and...
Big draw step. Pass to you.
Attack for 1.
The beats. 19. Gotta love the old Simic Guildgate into Azorius Guildgate draw.
Not sure what I want to do here.
Yeah.
I think next turn, I think you're likely to play something like Uro or Teferi. And so I think I want to make the play that is best against that.
Okay.
And this would be best against Teferi, but this is still fine against Teferi, but definitely better against Uro. So I'm going to play him Grimflare.
Grimflare. Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right. End step cycle.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Grimflare is a pain. Letting that thing stick is not what I want. And we're not quite at Delirium, right?
3 types.
Okay. Yeah. Grimflare is getting us good here. I think I am just going to take 2.
17.
And pass to you.
Okay, let's start with the Wayfinder since I want to do this before I Grimflare. Got to go Grimflare trigger.
Let's try to get it a little bigger. That makes sense.
If you want to absorb this, that's
yeah, I do not. Go ahead.
Fine. This could also let me hit Delirium. Yeah,
Yep.
there's a sorcery, so that'll do. And an artifact. No land.
No land. Okay.
We got 5 types now. So,
Okay.
Send in for 5. See if you got the charm.
I think I will just let that connect. Take 5.
So take 5. You're at 12.
Yep.
It's top 3, right? Yeah.
Top 3. Yep.
Definitely want to put this in the graveyard. And what about the other things? I definitely want to keep this. I think that one's also good.
Okay, not great.
So top both of those. Play a Blooming Marsh.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right. End step. Omen.
Okay.
Scry 2. Some interesting draws. I'm actually going to keep both of these.
Not good.
Yeah. Keep both. Draw 1. Untap. Draw. So now I really want to slow down this Grimflare now. I wanted to do it last turn, of course, but no such luck. I think we're going to play the Teferi this turn, and then bounce, draw, and pass to you.
Okay, well, we have a pretty scripted turn. Let's fire off this Thoughtseize.
Okay, our hand is full of gasoline. But not necessarily gas that I need or want.
Yeah, your hand is not great.
Yeah, it really wasn't. It really wasn't. I have things, but...
I am going to take the Teferi, I think.
Take Teferi, kill Teferi seems like a decent plan.
Yeah, let's take the Teferi. I go to 18.
Okay.
Send 1 at Teferi, 1 at you.
All right, I go to 11.
Play Fable Passage and replay Grimflare.
Okay.
And pass the turn.
I'm going to sack this because I do want to just thin the deck to get Supreme Verdict. I think that's what I want here. Now, the question is, do I want to get a green source to be able to flashback Uro at some point? It's slightly awkward, but I do think that is the case. If I have a green. Okay. Okay. I'd love to be able to, like, D-Sphere plus hold up Absorb, but I am a little short of that. That was an interesting draw. And you probably just have an answer for D-Sphere, is probably why you didn't even pay attention to it. So maybe this is just a Yorion turn. Yorion does not seem bad. Could still have Assassin's Trophy, but other than that, removal is not great for Yorion. So yeah, we're going to go with Yorion. Blink this.
Yep.
Okay. Scry 2, draw. I'll keep both and pass to you.
Keep both is not good.
Yep.
I do know my top card is a Dreadbore for that Yorion.
Okay.
So let's do that.
Not bad.
Get in for 6.
I'll take it. Down to 5.
5. I will, with the trigger on the sack here.
Okay. Good use of Dreadbore there for sure.
Keeping both on top. It definitely makes me think I'm getting verdicted this turn. So, though, if you do verdict, you won't be able to hold up Absorb, which is very good news for me. So if you do verdict, then I at least get to resolve Lurrus.
Yeah, don't love that.
And hopefully we can find some good stuff here. Okay, well, none of these are very good. The Unbridled Growth being in the graveyard is good enough for Lurrus.
Yep, you're already getting your value.
You're already at 5. This is already lethal. So you're going to have to play some sort of removal. Yeah, I'm just going to pass the turn.
Okay, and here is that moment where Ross was talking about, like, maybe you don't play that aggressively, and I'm able to do some other play here. And I'm kind of thinking, like, D-Sphere plus Absorb is just okay right now. But then again, if you do have Abrupt Decay, it's just such a blowout. So maybe that's not worth it. These Absorbs have been really brutal, mostly because of the way I played, I guess, but...
Could Uro and try to hit a green source?
Yeah, that feels quite bad. Yeah, the real question is, do I think you have Abrupt Decay? I could absorb it anyways and go to 8 and then take 4, 5, 6, so it's not the worst. All right, I'm going to try it. Go. Dang it. All right, I do have to absorb it just to gain life.
Okay, so you waste an absorb, you go up to 8.
Your go. I'm probably just dead. Yeah, I had him red for that. I don't know why I went into that.
So you go to 2.
Or I go 4, 5, 6. Yep, down to 2.
Trigger this. Definitely don't want land or deadweight.
Okay.
Those are bad. The question is whether we want this. So I think this helps if you Uro next turn. I don't really want to play Lurrus because of the threat of Supreme Verdict, though you're getting to the point where you can Verdict plus Absorb. You have 2 unknowns in hand?
2 unknowns, yep.
Yeah, so between those 2 and your top card, you have untapped land. That's not a shock land. And
yeah, Shockland does not do it.
Verdict. I guess it can't be a forest either, because you can't, with 2 forests, you can't absorb a plus.
I would think I only
Verdict.
play 1. That would make sense as deck building, but I really don't know for sure. Trusting in Canister, I'm sure the numbers make perfect sense.
Any painless blue or white land will do it.
Yep.
Based on your current mana. You're currently at 2.
Yeah, a little punished by that play. You know, I recognized it was there. It was not the worst, but I guess countering an uncounterable spell is probably not great.
Yeah, I am going to leave that on top.
Okay.
And then pass the turn.
All right. Okay, that is kind of what we wanted here. That was pretty good. Verdict.
Yeah.
Set that up pretty well, and then I'll pass to you. And that is the main reason why I didn't do that, because I just wanted to wait one more turn, if possible, to Verdict and Absorb and try to gain control of this, but...
Maybe I was supposed to just get my card with the Lurrus, but like the card isn't worth a whole lot when you can just absorb my next threat.
Yeah, not really.
Really looks like I'm just going to come up a little short here. needed to find something good in 6 cards, and my 2 triggers did not really show anything very good.
Yeah, Culligan's Command would be pretty good.
Yeah,
Just
that would have been
to
good.
you.
A Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
The second Thoughtseize would have been good.
Yeah.
Got 1 unknown. Gonna be able to either Growth Spiral or Scry 2 if I don't force the Absorb.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I have to do is play this one.
Chevelle. I'm going to give this one a good read. I know this is not a very threatening card right now, so it definitely just smells like bait. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. If that one resolves, then I will play Soul Guide Lantern.
Soul Guide Lantern, huh? Are you trying to set up some trickiness? Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. All right. That one I could think about absorbing. Doesn't seem super necessary. So yeah, that's fine.
Okay, exile the Yorion.
Okay.
Pass a turn.
All right. End step, Growth Spiral.
Yep.
Untap.
All gas.
All gas. Now the question is, what exactly do we want to play? Do we just want to start getting Urros to get some wiggle room? That seems correct. Now you can sack this to exile my entire graveyard, right?
Yep.
Okay. So you'd have to do it pretty aggressively. So with that being the case, I don't think it's smart for me to lean into that. How about we just go with a Teferi?
Yep.
I will tick up, draw, and untap 2 lands and pass to you.
Upkeep, let's put a bounty counter on the Teferi.
Okay. It's going to be a big turn.
Attack you for 1.
Okay, I'll go to 1. Living life on the edge here.
Croxa.
Okay. So not that big of a deal. When I have as long as I don't discard a land, I don't die. Yeah. Okay, that resolves.
Pass the turn.
Upkeep.
Okay, your graveyard.
Okay. Draw.
I don't have to pay mana for that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Draw. Now, I could think about just tucking away Chevelle here. Just cleanly deal with that, but I think first we want to get a life buffer. So, Earl.
Go to 4.
4. Let's go like this, and I'm gonna draw a card and untap and pass to you.
Attack you for 1.
All right, I will charm that. Put that on top.
Croxa.
Let's Essence Scatter.
Pass the turn.
All right, Growth Spiral. No land. Untap. Draw. Start with an opt. I'll keep that one. Cycle. Blue, blue, green, green. Bring back Uro.
Gonna go to 7.
7, draw. Play a land off that. I will tick this up. Draw. And untap 2 lands and pass to you. That was a nice turn.
Yeah, it's a good one. Crocs up.
Roxa, I will just let it resolve and discard.
Okay. Push the arrow.
Absorb. Game 3.
Push the arrow.
Okay. I see what you had, huh?
You're at 10. I think it's a pretty safe bet. Game 1.
Yeah. When you have some dead cards, yeah.
When I'm out of gas, usually the remaining cards are just removal spells.
Checks out to me. All right, we're going to sack Fabled Passage for this. Untap. Draw. Tick up. Threatening Ultimate next turn. So we need 2 cards in the yard if we wanted to bring this back. Let's see if we can find it. We don't have it quite yet, but cycle.
I mean, you have the Omen in play.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, then let's go with... Haven't played a land yet, so I'll play land for turn. Cycle, 1/1 shark.
Sure.
Draw. Uro.
Brings you to 13.
13. Land off Uro. Untap. Put absorb mana up.
Is it bad if I've just stopped paying attention
And
to light
pass to
totals and given Corey the win already?
I think that's pretty reasonable, yeah. That's pretty reasonable.
Lurrus.
I'll absorb.
Okay. I'm dead.
Yeah, I mean, that game was insanely close, but we got to a point, it didn't matter if I was at 4 or, 1,400.
Yep.
You weren't touching me.
It's a little bit slow, Drew.
Yep.
Really did just need to, one really good hit off the couple of
Grim players that you had, yeah.
If I found like a Croxa earlier,
Yeah.
I triggered Grim Player 3 times and State of Wayfinder twice.
Yeah, because that's the thing is you had infinite spells to be casting as long as you got some of your escape thing because you had so many cards in graveyard. But and there was a time where I was light on resources to start, but towards the end I got caught up. So all right, we're going to take a short break and we are going to head to sideboarding and probably get some of those fatal pushes out of your deck. Huh?
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Versus Live, where we are sideboarding in our matchup between Lurrus, Jund, and Yorion Bant Control. On my side, as Corey said before the break, my cheap removal spells that are meant for aggro decks all coming out. Fatal Push and Deadweight, very bad here. I'm also cutting 1 Cheville of the 2. I would love to cut the other, but I think it's better than 1 Slaughter Games, which would be the card I bring in.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave 1 in, unfortunately, but we got some good cards to side in.
Definitely.
Scrap Heap Scrounger is great against control. Not a ton of exile-based removal in your deck, really just Detachment Sphere. And you can hit it off of Seder Wayfinder and Grimflayer, so just free value off of the Scrounger.
Yep.
Painseer, also a tough card for you to answer because your cheap removal spell is Azorius Charm. I guess I do have to attack with it to get inspired, but if I can get the ball rolling on Painseer, the extra cards are going to be great. I've got discard spells. That's the other thing. So I play Painseer on turn 2, even though I have to attack with it to get the inspired tap in the next turn. I have Thoughtseize and Duress to clear away Azorius Charms or Teferis. So a nice little sort of Dark Confidant clone there, and then extra discard in Duress. So a solid sideboard, even if it is sort of 1 card short of where I would want it to be.
Yeah. Nope, I think that makes sense. I agree. Slaughter Games, if I only really killed with Uro and Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, I think that's fine. But having Shark Typhoon and a Dream Trawler, it doesn't seem good enough to me. On my end, we're just taking out 3 Absorb on the draw for 2 Aether Gust and 1 Ashiok. Ashiok's going to be great against your graveyard synergies. That's going to be excellent here. Aether Gust surprisingly hits basically everything except what you're bringing in. As far as your creatures go, Croxa being the important one. And then the games where I lose in this matchup, I feel where I have too many Absorbs in my hand and I'm not able to cast them on time. Kind of like what happened this last game. It was really close, The game was either going to end with me having 2 Absorbs in hand or it didn't matter if I cast them or not, So... so I like those changes just for cheaper interaction here. up against the aggressive deck. So.
And interaction with the battlefield.
Yes.
Your deck is definitely favored going along.
Yeah.
You just have really powerful cards and good planeswalkers and Uro and things like that. So you really just want to survive the early game. Treat me like an aggro deck, but also one that has a bunch of discards. Your counter spells are even worse.
Yep, exactly. And the one thing for discard, the best thing I have against discard is luckily Yorion. I mean, if you're hitting me with Thoughtseize and stuff, sometimes you take Omen of the Sea and stuff like that, but most of the time you need to take this key card like it's a fairy that's going to bounce your only threat, or a Supreme Verdict that's going to be threatening a few turns later, and that allows me to set up something like this in the later game if you have a heavy hand disruption draw.
Yeah. Yorion is impeccable against Thoughtseize.
Agreed. All right, Rob, you got any questions for us while we shuffle up for this game?
Yeah, Yargs wants to know, how important is it when you're building your deck to build around a companion as opposed to simply having a companion because you can?
Oh, that's a great question. That is a great question. I think, companions are just excellent for the 8th card, so I think adding them into decks that you already think are good for a metagame is fine if the deck restraint is not too bad. But mostly you want to have stuff that synergizes with it. Like you're playing Deadweight in your Lurrus deck, normally a card that is not a main deckable, but it's insane with Lurrus.
Yeah.
I'm playing, Omen of the Sea, which is already okay, but just excellent with this. So I think you definitely keep it in mind. And yeah, that's a tough question to answer. What do you think?
I would say that the more that you're conceding to the deck building constraint, the more you have to be getting out of it on the back end for the cost of the constraint to be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're playing Gigantha in your Spirits deck, they're not changing their deck at all to make Gigantha better, but they just get Gigantha along for free. So they don't have to pay anything. Like Gigantha just works in the deck the way it's normally built. So there's no cost, but that also means that they don't have to try to make Gigantha good, however you might do that. Yeah. Whereas, when you're playing Lurrus often in like this Jund deck, I can't play, Tireless Tracker. I can't play some other good cards that I otherwise would want to play.
Yeah.
So I definitely have to be getting good value out of it. And that's why you see Unbridled Growth, Deadweight, and all these cheap cantrips and cheap removal that work with Lurrus.
Yeah.
And even the graveyard synergies are good with Lurrus as well. So it really just comes down to how much you're sacrificing to get the companion to work initially. And the more that you're sacrificing, the more you got to be paid off.
Yeah.
So the more you're investing into the companion, the more it has to then, give you in return.
And that's why I love Yorion, because you're usually not giving up anything except a little bit of consistency in drawing your best cards, but most of the time you're able to play functionally the same cards, which makes Yorion amazing to me. But also whenever you maximize Yorion's ability, I'll use my cat combo for instance, which should be live right now for my Dropping Bombs if you want to check it out. But that is a deck that didn't lose a lot because of Yorion, but it gains so much because of the ability. I'm just learning. The more and more I play with that deck, the more I learn how absurd both of the cat combo pieces are with Yorion. You get kind of that double blink where, like, if you negative Saheeli on this, you get a copy, blink out Yorion itself, then you get to blink out the other stuff until the next end step. So that is like really an incentive to playing it, not even a deck constraints at all. So I think when you can find a shell that's like that is what his companions are all about. And that
is definitely the ideal.
That is the
There's
ideal.
Two aspects to the companion. It's how much am I giving up to get access to it, and how much am I getting? Yeah. And so when you can minimize the cost and maximize return, obviously, that's the best scenario. And Yorion actually does that pretty well because the cost of it is kind of low, and it does give you a really good return. So. That's why we've seen a lot of Yorion around. Whereas Lurrus is obviously a very good card as well, but I think the cost for the companion restriction is higher than it is with Yorion. But it being a cheaper card and the return on it is obviously really, really high when you do build around it. But you do have to, try. I think you have to try harder with Lurrus than you really do with Yorion. This deck makes a good use of Yorion. I think if I had been able to Dreadbore, that Teferi, and you didn't, get an extra draw 2 discard one, or scry 2 draw one, extra priority, and that you ended at 2 life effectively when you stabilize, like that could have made all the difference.
It really could have. Yeah, it's really unfair to just have a 5 mana 4/5 flyer that draws a card. Just at worst most of the time.
It would be nice if like my bad removal that's always going to sit around, like Fatal Push, would kill it, but it just can't.
It just can't. Yeah. No, great question though. I think thinking about those kind of things with Companion is what we have to be doing right now.
Yeah.
All right. How's your hand?
The mana is awkward, but it has a lot of really good cards in it, so I'm gonna keep.
I think I'm gonna keep as well. I think this hand is completely fine.
Start on a Fable Passage, and you're up.
Okay. I will start with a farmland. Pass to you.
Okay.
Oh, this deck has just some of my favorite cards of all time.
So Corey, question from the chat.
Uh-huh.
You can only have one, Yorion or Felidar Guardian.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, sorry to my cat, but I have to pick Yorion. Cat, they've taken it away from me in every single format except one. Yorion, at least, I get to enjoy every format with it, so I got to choose Yorion, chat, just because I get to play it in all the formats.
Okay. Well, I will shock to 18 and play Grand Player.
Yeah.
Pass the turn.
Okay.
A difficult decision, but
it is
I think
difficult.
you made the correct one.
I made the adult decision, that's for sure. Grimflare is pretty nice here. I will pass to you.
Okay, well, I'm just going to hope you don't have Ether Gust, because I have Thoughtseize for Azorius Charm.
I'm going to Ether Gust that.
I'll put it on...
Oh, sorry.
I mean, the Thoughtseize is resolving. I'm just...
But yeah,
I make this decision first.
I assume that also means Yorion beats out Niv Mizzet, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Niv Mizzet's like the distant cousin of my family, Yorion
I don't know why that was a question. It's 100% needs to go on top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was not close.
Okay.
I will take the Supreme Verdict.
Okay. You're at 18 or 16 now?
16.
Okay.
And then I'll play another Grimflare.
Oh, that's pretty good. You took the Verdict, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All righty.
We got 2 types.
2 types. I'm going to start with an opt to see what kind of land I want to play. It's an interesting one. I would have liked that to be in my hand before. I actually don't think this is good enough, just with the fact that it's like not doing a lot next turn. So I'm going to put it at the bottom. I wanted to draw that Uro, not the other way around. Okay. I will just play a land and pass to you. All right, I have Teferi and 2 lands, okay?
Yeah. And their Temple Garden Breeding Pool?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Attack for 2.
Okay, no blocks.
You're at 18.
18.
Whew. Definitely want to keep this one.
Okay.
I don't like all of these,
I don't like that.
to be honest.
Yeah, we just see this key Thoughtseize really ripping apart the main thing I wanted to be doing, which was the Verdict.
Actually, I think the Pain Suit is not going to be very good. And getting a creature in my graveyard for Lurrus is potentially nice.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to leave the other 2 there.
Okay, I'm at 18.
I'm going to play a Croxa.
Interesting. Very interesting. It resolves. All right, I'm going to discard Teferi.
So you kept your 2 lands. You definitely don't have a 3rd land in hand. You would 100% discard a land then. Your life total's high enough.
That's probably
fine.
pretty true.
So you found 2 spells. What are they? If you had like a sweeper, the Teferi is the perfect follow-up. So you probably just kept spot removal, or maybe you kept like spot removal spell and then Omen, and you're just going to plant a Yorion on 5. But I don't think you have a Verdict, so let's play Grimflare.
Okay.
Hopefully you don't have Detention Sphere.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
This is 3 types now.
Interesting what to do here. Think I'm just going to take 2 and pass to you.
So that makes it 16 all.
Yep.
Oh, I hate you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
So there's 2 cards that Corey's representing here. One of them is Shark Typhoon, which can just cycle and make a 2/2 and trade for a Grim Player. The other one is Settle the Wreckage. I really don't want to get settled. I think I can reasonably play around it, so I am just going...
Beginning combat.
Beginning of combat, we're doing things.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just attack with 1.
Okay, and it's not Delirium?
Correct.
So do I want to shark this? You already know the top card of your library, right?
Correct.
That is a tough one. Let's see here. You have 2 cards.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take it. 14.
You're at 14. I will trigger this. And let's get an enchantment in there. So now they are big.
Okay.
And pass a turn.
Okay. Interesting draw. Pass to you.
Continue to play around Settle.
All right. Well, you're a jerk. This time I'll make it happen.
Okay. I'm not sure what basics are in this deck. I might actually be out.
Sweet.
No.
Sweet.
There's at least 1 more. Okay. There's 2 more in the deck. And do I want another forest or another swamp? Neither gets me the 2nd red source for Croxa.
I was just going to say, there's not a mountain? That sucks.
I am going to resolve Lurrus while I can.
Okay.
And play Unbridled Growth on a swamp, I guess.
Okay.
That will let me Croxa.
Yep.
This does get me to 3 of these, and then I'll pass the turn.
All right. Yeah, that was a tilt that he played around Settle. I was really hoping to get you with the 2 there, but nice play. And here, this is kind of a decent play just because if you want to attack down to Fairy, you do not get the trigger. So I'm going to draw. I'll play a land and untap these 2. Pass to you. If I could have got the Settle with both Grim Flares, then Teferi Tuck just would have been a busted play here, but Ross played quite excellent around that.
Let's do this. Make sure we get our last basic before I hit it with something else.
I'm scared of this turn. I'm quite scared.
You have 3 in hand?
Yep. And you know none of them. Absolutely none of them. Does feel good to cast Fairy Hero of Dominaria again, I have to say. Probably what nobody else is feeling.
That was my favorite card in Modern for a long time.
Was it? Nice. Jeskai Control?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, me too. Me too. I played a lot of that.
Sack the Growth to draw a card.
Okay.
People at my LGS did not enjoy playing against me.
I can imagine, yeah.
Growth the Forest.
Okay.
I just want to draw cards with Lurrus rather than get creatures back. That way Supreme Verdict isn't as devastating.
Makes sense.
And I will just attempt to attack the Teferi down. Maybe you have an Azorius Charm. This is also why I wanted to growth before combat, in case you charmed the Lurrus.
Teferi down.
And I could Croxa you here, but I don't think there's any reason to. I guess if let's float a black and sack the growth now. If I draw Thoughtseize, then that might change things.
Okay.
Okay, Unbridled Growth here.
Okay, 1 black floating.
Yeah, sack this again. Still with a black and pool. Okay, use the black, play a Soul Guide Lantern.
Okay.
I will exile the Settle the Wreckage.
All right.
And I will pass the turn.
End step, Growth Spiral.
Yep.
Untap. Drop.
3 in hand.
Yep.
Okay, I feel pretty good about this game. I've drawn a bunch of extra cards. Corey's kind of low on resources. There's nothing I'm super scared of.
Okay, I'm going to start with Earl.
I will. So yeah, you get to stack the triggers, so there's no way I get to tag it.
Yeah, I don't think you actually get to get it here.
Yeah, but I'm just going to get your graveyard first.
Yeah, so this is on the stack.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's in play, and then you have 2 triggers. So it's the sacrifice trigger, and then the land trigger, and you make the land trigger resolve first.
Yeah, so I'm going to be able to have an Earl in my graveyard at the end of this. Yeah. So,
but I can rebuy the lantern next turn and exile it with that.
So I'm not going to be able to bring this back, so I'm going to go up to 17.
Yep.
Draw. And then I will go with D-Sphere on Lurrus.
Yep.
And pass to you.
Okay, attack you for 4.
Okay, I'll take it.
13.
Yep.
Trigger. Don't want Land or Wayfinder. Definitely want this.
Okay.
Let's decay the Detention Sphere.
Okay.
Play. You have 2 in hand?
2.
Don't think you have
excellent.
Verdict.
They're excellent.
Oh, I guess I can't Crocs this turn anyway. So
okay.
Let's play the Soul Guide Lantern.
Okay.
Exile the Uro.
Yep, that sucks.
Play this Overgrown Tomb tapped and pass the turn.
All right, end step. Sack this. Yeah, we definitely need a Verdict. I do not have one, as you accurately assumed. I think I got a blue source somewhere on here. Yeah, this Lurrus has just been a problem. D-Sphere being not a very unconditional removal spell has been very bad for me. Cycle. Untap. Well, I think I kind of have one choice here. Oh, I can't even do that. Dang it. Yeah, this is quite bad. Could just play Yorion. That's not terrible. It's not great, but might be the best I got, unless I find something good off this. Yeah, I guess. All right, Teferi.
Yep.
Draw. Play a land for the turn, and then untap and pass to you.
Start this turn with an Unbridled Growth.
Okay.
On a forest.
Okay.
Then I will Thoughtseize you.
Got him.
I go to 14.
Got him.
Okay. Attack down the Teferi.
Yep.
And we're just going to go in for the kill. Play Croxa.
Okay.
Try to leave Delirium enabled so we can get rid of 3 lands, 1 of the Thoughtseizes, and a Satyr Wayfinder.
Okay.
And we have all 5 types still.
So I take 3, then I'm down to 10.
Yes, we have 10 to 14. And I will pass the turn.
All right, a verdict into Yorion here is definitely not bad. Ooh.
Honestly, I wouldn't even care.
Yeah, then I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
All right.
I would still feel very far ahead.
Okay, well then I'm probably dead. I'm going to sack this to thin my deck out first. Yeah, this game just did not go well for me. All right, so I got an Azuria's Charm to cycle here. Draw. And I'm dead.
Yeah. I just had 2 more threats on Dreadbore for the Yorion. Like,
Okay. Yeah, I think you had me.
I can immediately recast the Croxa too.
Yeah, and honestly, the Lantern was like one of the biggest things because I was really setting up to a turn where I could Uro without you exiling it on the stack, and then I was either that like last blind draw, where you just had mana floating. I was just like, no, that's the exact thing I didn't need.
Yeah, and if I have to Dreadbore or Decay the Uro, which I had both, I think at that time still, because you had D-Sphere, then either your D-Sphere or your Yorion is good.
Yeah.
Just being in, I was able to play slow, accumulate card advantage, not on the battlefield to play around Verdict, but still apply sufficient pressure so you couldn't get a Planeswalker going. Mm-hmm. And then I had the Graveyard Hate to stop Uro from getting going. Yeah. So I just kind of cut you off from every single angle there.
Yeah, you really did. That was quite brutal here. One change I'm going to make, just play draw with this deck, I think that is quite important, is just the Gus for Absorbs again. I think Absorb is quite good. And honestly, I think I'm going to take out the Settle. Like, you don't walk into it very effectively, so that loses a lot of value. Plus, you have so much hand disruption, so I think it is just much worse. So I'm going to make this exchange.
Like, the best you can really hope for is me attacking 2 creatures into it.
Yeah, which, I mean, would have been insane there because I had... if the turn where I put up the 4th land, you just fell for it and attacked in, then you replay a creature, and then I had the Teferi follow-up to tuck. Like, when I discarded Teferi, I just had another Teferi. Yeah. But if you would have fell for that, I really would have got you good. But, yeah, I mean... I feel like you definitely materialized that game where I had the tools to beat you if you didn't play optimally. So that was nice. All right, Rob, you got a question while we get ready for our 3rd game here?
Yeah, Red Kreplin wanted to know, does playing an 80-card control deck feel any significantly less consistent than a 60-card deck?
Drawing the Wrath when you really need it is something that I've noticed, and that's just as much with like standard Jeskai Luca. When you really need it, it's kind of tough. So it's definitely not nothing, but then I just think of the value that Yorion brings, and it's just completely fine.
Yeah, I think there's more games determined by, the extra card advantage that Yorion gives versus, the few games where you don't have Verdict on time that you otherwise would have.
Yep. Agreed. This is one of the decks that I said, Yorion is not as good. And like the Jeskai Luca deck in Standard, Yorion is also amazing in there. Plus it's that 8th card. So I do think there is takeaways from either one. But all right. Yeah, I think this hand's fine.
This hand's a little slow, but I think still good.
Okay. Land go.
Fable Passage go.
Okay. Ooh, I'm going to start with an opt.
Yeah, that's usually a sign that you don't have lands.
Well, just to play a better land. So. Yeah. All right, pass to you.
Probably just has another Glacial Fortress, Hinterland Harbor, something like that.
Something like that. You don't know me.
This effectively saved Corey 2 life.
Yep.
And, he's going to opt anyway. He knows exactly what he wants. So opt main phase made sense.
Agreed.
When he wins it too, I'm going to be really mad.
Yeah, of course. Grimflare on 2, like every game.
Don't have Grimflare. I have Satyr Wayfinder.
Okay.
I had Grimflare once on turn 2, and I've had Satyr Wayfinder twice.
Okay, well, still lucky. I agree. 18 to 20.
That's a little bit luckier where I hit Scrap Heap Scrounger. That's
nice. That's nice.
Do I want Overgrown Tomb or Fable Passage? Probably just Fable Passage. My life total isn't super relevant, but extra cards in the graveyard is nice, especially if I'm going to want to use creatures to feed this.
Yep, makes sense to me.
So let's take the Fable Passage.
Okay. It's interesting. Land number 3 here. We got a couple of options. Just trying to decide which one's better. Yeah, I think it's Uro. So let's go with Uro, draw, put a farmland into play, and
23.
pass to you.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's a good draw, though. Get in for 1.
Beats. 22.
22. It kind of makes me think that Corey's trying to ramp into a Teferi here.
Well, my deck is all Teferis, so that's probably a good assumption.
Yeah. I am going to duress you.
Okay.
I will...
Can't take old Dreamy T. Yeah, I had a tough choice between Teferi or Uro, but I didn't have this land, and I wanted to get a second blue source into play, so I thought that the Uro was a little bit better. No, this is a tough one.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
It's a good hand. It's just a great hand, yeah.
I'm going to take the Absorb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absorb is gone.
And then I'm going to shock to 16.
Yep.
And play a Grim Flare.
Alrighty.
Land, sorcery, artifact, creature.
Okie dokie.
You can go.
All right. Untap. Draw. All right, we're going to Teferi. Bounce this. Now I can take 2 to have the option of Azorius Charming Wayfinder to keep Teferi alive, which is not nothing. It's not the best play I've ever had in my entire life, but we're going to represent it. Not sure if we want to do it.
You're 20.
20, pass to you.
All right, well, I'm going to try to make you do it.
It's really not that important in this matchup, so I'm kind of thinking I don't want it, but the more you have to pay attention to it, the better it becomes. But I think I'm going to let it fall.
Okay. Thoughtseize you.
Okay, well, you have a for sure thing you must take here, so I think I can safely let you have this.
Wanted to take the Teferi, but I think if I take the Teferi there, then you just hold up the Absorb, and I don't get to take the Trawler.
And I cast Dream Trawler and you die.
So that was the awkward part about the duress previously.
Yep. No.
So put
Smart play.
Or put myself to 14.
And I'm at 20. Yep.
And then what else is in your hand? Just Growth Spiral, Charm, Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let's hold on to that. Sec this one. Okay. That was the other nice thing. If you did Azorius Charm, I guess you knew I had Fable Passage.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to redraw the Satyr Wayfinder.
Yep, and that's pretty huge. I think I'd rather save it for Grim Flare when it's actually something that matters. All right.
So we did that. Definitely want to Unbridled Growth here.
Okay.
And do I want to replay Grimflare or do I want to do this? I kind of think this is better since you're low on cards. You're probably playing Yorion soon, and Grimflare doesn't attack into Yorion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to Kroxa.
Kroxa. Okay, I'm going to respond by Growth Spiraling.
Yep.
Draw. That's an interesting one. I'm going to put in the land and... Yeah.
Okay, so one unknown in hand, and I'll pass the turn.
Okay. We got a couple draw steps at a nice turn. That was not what we wanted. All right, we're going to start with Uro. What should we keep? I don't think I can really bring back anything. I don't think I have anything in this deck that brings anything back.
Yeah. That was the other awkward part of this exchange. Because I had to get rid of the Dream Trawler, I wasn't able to just go Lurrus, deal with the Uro.
Yeah, and I mean, you couldn't deal with it all, plain and simple there.
Yeah. So you're at 23.
Dang it.
Need to find a removal spell.
Okay, so we're gonna go with. Do we even want to cast that? Probably not. I think I'll just pass to you then.
Oh. Found a removal spell, but it's one I would have preferred to use on something else.
Okay.
Attack for 1.
Okay, take it. 22.
22, and I'm still like a mana off of things I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to play the Grim Flare.
Okay.
Guess I should maybe, if I find a Thoughtseize, I'd rather do that. My mana's perfectly fine. So let's sack this, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, you can go.
All right, end step cycle.
Yep.
Untap. All right. Let's go with something that we would have just blown you out with if we would have hit an untapped land. Ashiok. Oh, wait. Let's do this much smarter. How about this? Let's go like this. I played a land for the turn, correct? Yeah, I played this. Okay, so we're going to do this a little smarter. I'm going to sack this before I play this.
Sure. Ashiok is unbelievably good here.
Oh, yeah. Fuel 0 plus Rex your yard.
Literally, I think it just ends the game on the spot.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But I drew Ashiok, and I knew I was bringing back Uro, and I just had 6 lands. And I was like, untap land, and I get to go Uro Ashiok against you. Farmland. All right, so target myself. This is a cute little trick when you have Uro. You still exile. Blue, 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 green, green, green.
It punishes me for sacking the growth. Literally does everything.
Yeah, it is excellent. So bring this back. Go to 25.
Yep.
Draw, land, and pass to you. Yeah, you were just like one turn away from Lurrus lanterning me the last 2 turns, which was just so huge.
Yeah, the real big thing actually was if I had Thoughtseized instead of duressing on the turn I duressed, I just take the Trawler immediately. You still are kind of forced to Teferi because my board is good, so you can't absorb.
Yeah.
And then I get to, Lurrus play Lantern that turn, deal with the Uro, and then still have the duress for the absorb later on.
Yeah.
So that's actually the biggest punishment. I think that,
But that's the thing is, there's so many contextual lines playing against control that it feels like you make mistakes. But, I mean, hindsight's 20/20 against a deck that attacks from multiple angles.
Corey, don't forget to tap for Ashiok, too.
What's up?
You didn't tap your mana for Ashiok.
Yeah, you only have 1 mana.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Don't think it matters because my hand is 3
Thanks.
lands.
No, but chat was...
yeah, no. Definitely, I like to cast
my hand is 3 lands. Of just,
yeah.
So you basically... I have to, play this.
And then play defensive.
Yeah, and I don't even know, I can't really afford to trade the Lurrus. And I can't block because you have Ashiok, so...
Yeah, if you trade with this, I just mill myself again and bring it back. So, yeah. Yep, awkward spot for sure. And then I can just mill Yorion, reblink it, but... Yeah, this deck looked quite nice. Honestly, one of Ashiok is insane to me. Whenever you're an Uro deck, Ashiok gets so much more value. I was playing Bant Snow Control before Companions, and I was starting to main deck 2 of these. It was really good against most of the metagame because it was Mystic Sanctuary decks, but I was also playing 4 Uros, so I just occasionally would just be like, oops, Uro,
Yeah, no, it was very good, and when you were bringing it in, I was hoping that you just wouldn't see it, so it completely ends the match as soon as you do.
Quite good against Lurrus, so that's for sure.
I'm thinking about that Duress Thoughtseize play, and I honestly thought I was being smart by duressing first.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was going to end up having to take a Supreme Verdict or something like that, and that threat of that Dream Trawler meant that I want to save the Thoughtseize, but as it turned out, you had the one Dream Trawler, and that was the card I wanted to take.
Yeah.
And it snowballed the next 2 turns on top of it, and I think I was right to duress. I just got, maximally punished.
Yeah, because I mean, the only thing that Thoughtseize gets you is if you want to take Uro, which you're never going to want to do, no matter what, and then the one of Dream Trawler, and even then, like, you still do have Thoughtseize for later on. The way it worked out, it was kind of just awkward with how the sequence of events played out. But I still think it's still correct to lead with duress. So
the entire game really hinged on that.
Yeah.
Because if I get to deal with that Uro, then you're down really low on resources. You just end up playing the Yorion. I Croxy you. Then you're the person. Then you're the person who needs to top deck, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and I had 2 more lands on the top. So I mean, without Uro, that's 2 cards less already. So I could have just lost to Flood there.
The entire game literally just hinged on that one turn.
Yep. But all right. Well, it looks like Bird's going to be taking down Pioneer for this. But we still got one more match coming up for you, and we usually save the spiciest for last. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short 5-minute break, and we'll be right back with round number 3 on Versus Live.